Mitt Romney really wants us to believe that because he's been very successful at business that he'll be good at being president. Barack Obama wants us to believe that while making money is good, just because you can run a company doesn't mean you can run the country. The answer to that question is totally irrelevant. Mitt Romney has some other experience, more like being president, that we can look at to see if he'd be good at it. He was governor of Massachusetts, so why is nobody talking about it? The Democrats can't talk about Romney's time as governor for one simple reason: the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare. The only thing that most people in the country know about Mitt Romney's time as governor is that he passed health care reform with an individual mandate known as Romneycare. And the only thing that most people know about Romneycare is that it's pretty much the same as the health care reform with an individual mandate that Obama passed known as Obamacare. And the only thing that people are sure about Obamacare is that the Democrats say it's good and the Republicans say it's bad. So if Romney's time as governor is primarily associated with Romneycare, and Romneycare is primarily associated with Obamacare, then the Democrats can't speak negatively about Romney's time in the governor's mansion without it looking like they're speaking negatively about Obamacare. And since they can't speak negatively about his performance as governor, as the old adage goes in politics, if you can't say something negative, don't say anything at all. So why aren't the Republicans talking about Romney's time as governor of Massachusetts? For sure, the Republicans are affected by the Obamacare-Romneycare issue too. They don't want people to remember that Romney once passed a law a lot like Obamacare, but they have a much bigger problem with mentioning Romney's time as governor. In 2002, Romney made the same argument to the people of Massachusetts that he's making to the American people today. He argued that his private sector experience qualified him to address the state's fiscal problems. This argument proved pretty convincing, and he beat his opponent Shannon O'Brien 50% to 45%. The people of Massachusetts seemed genuinely excited about Romney. He was sworn in January of 2003, and by November of that same year, his approval rating was 66%. But the love affair didn't last long. The people of Massachusetts got less and less impressed as his term went on, and by November of 2006, 1 month before the end of his term, his approval rating was an abysmal 34%. And even though a whopping 84% of residents of Massachusetts actually liked Romneycare, they didn't like Romney, and by the end of his first term, the people were so disappointed with the rest of his performance, his final approval rating was only 39%, and he didn't even bother to seek re-election. He was effectively fired by the people of Massachusetts. So you can see why the Republicans want to talk about Romney's time as chief executive of Bain Capital as much as possible, and his time as chief executive of Massachusetts as little as possible. So the real question isn't does Romney's time as a high-powered CEO qualify him to be president? The real question is, does the time he spent as governor of Massachusetts disqualify him?